Welcome! In this series of short videos, we will look at topics common to both the PowerBasic console and Windows compilers. Today we will look at date verification within your application. In some of your applications, you will find the need to verify dates. When using a Windows PowerBasic application, you will probably accept dates from the user using a date control. This ensures the user can only give you dates in the format which you're expecting. However, there are times when you'll accept dates from other sources. You may be taking the dates from a file, from a database, or from somewhere else in the system. So what we're going to create today is a routine to validate a date. Dates, however, can be in different formats. The UK format of a date is day, month, year, and the US format is month, day, year. So we're going to handle both of these today. And in order to do that, we're going to create a small generic routine to validate any date. Our new date is going to be a function called isDateValid. It will take 3 parameters, each of them being a long. Firstly the year, then the month, and then the day. In order to minimize the amount of code we have to write to create this new function, we're going to use one of the inbuilt classes for PowerBasic, the PowerTime class. To use this, all we need to do is to declare a local variable as a PowerTime variable. So we have longDate as iPowerTime. And we're going to populate longDate by doing a let longDate equals class PowerTime. Having created this, we can now populate it. So in this one line of code, we're taking longDate.newDate and we're giving it the 3 parameters, the year, the month, and the day. The advantage of using this PowerTime class is that if you attempt to put a value into a date which is not in the correct format, for example, the month number is greater than 12, or the day number is greater than the number of days that can actually be in that month of that year, then we can actually test to see whether this has been correctly populated or not in one line of code. So if this is a valid date, then object result will be equal to this constant. If not, then the date is not valid. So this simple test will allow us to determine whether the date information we have passed it is valid or not, and return true if the date is valid and false if the date is not valid. So we're going to create a couple of wrappers for this function to allow us to use the date format of the US and the date format of the UK. So if we do the UK format first, we want to do a test on the date that the user has input. So we're going to create a wrapper function called isDateValid, and this one will specifically take the parameter in this format, day, month, and year. And if this is valid, we will put a message out to the screen to say it's valid, and if not, we'll put a message to say that the date is not valid. And we will do exactly the same for the US format, but we'll call a different wrapper function that will take the date in month, day, year format. So now we'll create these 2 wrapper functions. So here's the first one for the UK format. Taking a simple strdate, and internally inside the function we want to break that date up into the 3 values we're going to pass to our main verification function. The long year, the long month, and the long day. And we can do this quite easily using the string manipulation functions. First of all, we take the date and we take the rightmost 4 characters, which would be the year, and then we turn that into a number using the val command, and we place that within long year. We use the $$ to take the 4th character in for 2 characters, which is the month, and the same for the long day, which takes the first 2 characters. And then having done that, we need to then call our new function like so. we're calling isDateValid with the year, month and day, and whatever value comes back from that function, we're passing back to the function that called this function. So this little wrapper function will take the date in whatever format we give it, pass it to our date validation function, and pass back a true or false. Now in this case, since we're not looking at the delimiters between the month, the day and the year, they could be dots, they could be dashes, they could just be spaces. As long as the date is in this format, the application will work nicely. And of course, you can create other wrapper functions for dates in other formats. So we'll do exactly the same for the American format, and we will take our year again from the right hand side. In this case, the month will be the first 2 characters, and the day will be the middle 2 characters, from the 4th character for 2 characters. So we try compiling that now. It compiles quite cleanly, and if we run this now, it should quite happily return a true for this because that is a valid date, and it should return a true for this because there was a 28th of February this year. So if we run that now, it's telling us both dates are valid. So let's give it an invalid date just to test it out. So we give it a 31st of June, which of course there is no 31st of June. It should return false for that, which it does. It's no longer valid. And if we try running a 29th of February, which should only occur in leap years, this should also return false, which it does. So just to test out that the previous year had a 29th of February, which it did. So this gives you a very straightforward and very simple way of validating dates. Hopefully that will be useful in your code. But that's it for today. Thank you for watching.